Ladies and gentlemen, the next actor on the stage, this guy is, for us who are in the comedy industry, we call him the legend. He was doing it before we did it. He came and did it the more. He won the competition where most of us came from. Me, Prince Emma Napoleon, Daniel O'Mara, Patrick Salvador, every stand-up comedian that you know in the country, we came from a show called Stand Up Uganda. And in the competition, this guy won and took $10,000. So he's a legend. We respect him. He's big in the market. So with a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome my brother, Kenneth Chimuli, a.k.a. Pablo. Yeah, man. Yagayo.
Let them know.
Uchaka kola kakandu.
Yeah.
Nkangamu.
1 2 1 2. We're gonna run to this year's truly Pablo Bangabe Oko. Yit mere mere the only mchiga from Pakwach. One thing's for sure, my mother's son, whether they like it or it's probably brought to you by Comedy Store. No breaking, no wrecking. Bless it, make it. Love it. Yagayo.
Umutwalo gugenze katia. Wasikazisa yungu umutwalo. How are you, Pablo?
I'm okay. Good to see you. I like your sense of fashion. Huh?
Thank you.
Yes.
It is not me. It's what you find in the market. It's not me. It's not about me. Good to have you.
The pleasure is mine.
Yes. Honorable. Do we call you honorable now? What do we call you?
If symptoms persist.
We keep calling you
honorable. If symptoms persist, just keep calling me honorable.
No, but I know, but hey, that's a big shoe that you are stepping in,
yeah, you know, sometimes you have to test the depth of an ocean.
Yeah.
And see how deep is it.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Hey, I'm a big fan of yours.
Humbled to hear that. Me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, before I tell you, this guy, the journey, like when we were joining, me, I didn't know I would do comedy, but I used to be a fan of this guy. We used to go to National Theatre to watch you and stuff. So I used to work in the studio then. This is 2009, I think. I used to work at Fenon. So we used to voice those radio dramas.
Yes, Rock Point 256.
Yes. And I was the producer of the shows. So we'd be jazzing there. So this guy is the guy you would be jazzing with. Then he's like, aha, that's a joke. Say that again. Before you know, I'm like, hey, this guy. So whenever you'd get something, you call him Pablo. Before you know, he makes it a big joke. So inward, I always felt like this is the guy I want to see all the time on stage. You know, there's always, I don't know if you have those people in your life also.
Yeah, I do. Some people who you don't want to leave, you know.
Yeah.
When they are performing, just say, I want more.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So maybe to start with, who is Pablo?
That's a very good question. Pablo is a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, Uganda.
Yeah, he's a law-abiding citizen, feared in hell, celebrated in heaven. Yeah, but my real name is Kenneth Kimuli, and my friends call me Pablo.
Yeah.
A name I got that when I used to work on radio.
Oh, which radio?
Yeah, it was called 104.1 Power FM.
It still exists, right?
Yeah, it still is.
Yeah.
I worked there for, I think, 5 years, then I threw in the towel.
Yeah.
But the way I got the name was very interesting because the program's director then didn't like my name Kenneth. I think.
Who was that?
She was called Belinda Obura.
Okay.
And she didn't like the name Kenneth. I think reminded her of maybe her ex or something.
Yeah.
So she said, you need a funky name. And then she gave me the name.
It was a church station, right?
Yes, it was.
A Christian station.
Yes, still is.
Funky name for what?
Yeah, so she said you need a name like Mendez. So I go on air and I started, yo, this is yours truly, Mendez. Give me a call on 041414. I started giving the number. And the first caller said, hello, Mandazi. I said, no.
This one is not working.
I'm not going to be donuts.
Yeah.
So I told her I need another name.
Yeah.
So she gave me Ricardo. I said I can't sustain that name because along the way, rest assured, I said, this is Richard. And then said, okay, let's look for, I don't know why she was so fascinated with Latin names. Huh?
Yeah.
And so she said, okay, let's look for Pablo.
Yeah.
So I go on air and I said, yo, this is yours truly, Pablo. No wreck it, break it, no mess it.
Yeah.
Now, the people who used to watch us performing with the then Theatre Factory said, but you guys, you sound like Pablo. I said, yeah, I'm the one who does the role of Pablo.
Yeah.
Yes. And they said,
relating.
so you're Pablo.
Yeah.
And that was the last funeral rite of Kenneth in the entertainment industry.
You buried Kenneth Chimuli forever. He rested in peace. Well, that's good.
But
So,
I am,
Pablo, which year was this now?
That was 2004.
Oh.
Yeah. And so by then I graduated in journalism. I'm a journalist by profession.
Wait. Let's start there. Where did you go to school?
I went to Namasagali University, which is now Busitema University.
Oh, no.
Oh, the school.
The school,
oh,
yes.
I was an academic tourist.
Oh.
You know, I went to my real school.
Yeah.
I started at Macnon Kindergarten.
Okay.
Macnon Kindergarten, it's now deceased. I saw Macnon Suites there.
Oh,
I don't know if
it
whether
was
my
along
papers
that
are.
street,
Yes. And so when I left Macnon Kindergarten,
Yeah.
I go to Shimoni Demonstration School,
Yes,
which
also
is now
deceased.
Kampala.
They changed it to where
They
now?
now changed. I think there is a kingdom.
The kingdom
The
Kampala.
kingdom also changed. There is something else. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I don't know if my papers are clear.
Yeah.
So I go to Shimoni, and when I was in P4,
Yeah.
you know, my dad closed chapter.
Oh.
So when my dad dies,
Sad, yeah.
I start my transition from urban to rural.
Okay.
Let me tell you, that's the worst experience. You know, it's better to come from the village to the city
Yeah.
than from the city to the village.
Tell
Because
us
you're
about
living
it.
civilization.
Yeah.
And so, when my dad dies,
Yeah.
I start my
Going back to the roots. Yeah.
my migration.
Yeah.
So I go to a school in Imbarara
Yeah.
called the Boma Primary School.
Yes, I know.
Now when I
Yeah.
reached Boma Primary School, I had Maradona shoes. And there was a teacher called Brown.
Yeah.
The
The label of the shoes was Maradona.
The name of the Maradona shoe.
Yeah.
It was a very nice shoe.
Yeah.
So
Was
the
it
teacher-
popular then?
Yeah, because of Diego Maradona,
Oh,
you
yes,
know.
yes, yeah.
And so this guy calls me and tells me, tomorrow don't come back with these shoes. And I asked
teacher.
him why. He
Yeah.
said, if you wear shoes, what will the headmaster do? So I was introduced to Futsubishi RAV2.
Yeah.
I started measuring the temperature. Yeah? Yes.
soil.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. You know, they say when bad luck chooses,
Yeah.
even a cold potato can burn you.
Yeah.
Now, my uncle, my maternal uncle who was raising me, I was working with Vanyankore Kweterana Cooperative Union,
Yes.
and also closed. So when it closed,
Yeah.
I jumped from the frying pan
Yeah.
to the fire. So now I went to Busheng.
Hey, you left
Yeah,
Mbarara
I
now?
left in Barara.
My God, this
Now,
guy is like,
we were going deeper.
Yeah.
So I got to Bushenyi.
Which
and
level of education now? Like
That was
P5?
P3.
Oh.
So I got to P4.
Yeah.
I was in Boba for I think 2 terms.
Yeah.
So when I reached Waranyanji, I got to Waranyanji Primary School.
Yes.
But my Runyankole was undecided because I was speaking more of English,
Yeah.
Luganda,
Yeah.
and Lutoro. So I reached there, and they tell me you need to learn Runyankole properly.
Yes.
So my auntie had a nursery school called Korwi's Nursery School.
Yes.
So in the weekends I used to go there to study Runyankole. They had a subject called Yego Remerwao, learn your language.
But nah.
Yeah, and the way they used to learn it, they used to teach the vowels.
Yeah.
Yana yeah, yeah, sana su, yesu. So I had to learn Runyankole.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
the time I joined Waranyanji,
Uh-huh.
I found guys in P4, the brothers were old.
Where Nyanji, the primary school, is
Yes,
mixed.
it's mixed, yeah.
Yeah.
I found that there are guys who are, especially the day schoolers,
Yes.
the brothers were old, and that was the time of graduated tax.
Yeah.
I think they used to intentionally repeat
Yeah.
to avoid paying graduated tax. Because the brothers were old.
Yeah.
Imagine I went to P4 and they told me,
Yeah.
"Ana wahaba garuka yom." They said, you are lost, you go back to preparatory. They thought I was in preparatory.
Oh, yeah.
I said, no, isn't this P4G? They said, yes. So I entered. The guys were old. Even our stories were different.
Yeah.
When I was talking about Scooby-Doo, you know, Tom and Jerry.
From
These
Kampala.
guys were discussing the price of cement in the P4. That's how old they were. You know, like you're in the break time, they're discussing. Like, guys, where have you reached? I'm at the window level. Hey!
Yeah.
Break time.
Break time.
During break time, instead of mom thinking of mandazi, how can I go and buy an mandazi?
Yeah.
For them, it's break to shave beards. You find them behind the class with these razor blades. There used to be razor blades called Nelson.
Yeah.
It was like an iron sheet and crocodile. You find them.
That's nice though. Now you're in Bushenyi.
So I now,
Yeah.
for me, that's where I see my comedy journey beginning.
Yes.
Because when I reached there, they had a subject called handwork.
Okay.
Now, handwork
yes, I remember
involved
handwork,
going
yeah.
to the swamp
Yes.
and getting papyrus reeds to make mats.
Yes.
Here is a guy who had no idea. I'd never even seen a swamp. I only read it on a chart. You know those charts, eh?
Yes,
Of
yes.
S is a swamp.
Yes.
Now here I was seeing the real thing.
The swamp you're in.
Now, the first time I went to a swamp, it was called Nyampimbi.
Yeah.
In Buranyanji.
Yeah.
I went, I thought it was shallow. Woo! It swallowed me like the way Pingu used to swallow fish. Washwi. And now, these brothers were older, like, this Kakampara boy. They just pulled me out and put me aside. But remember, I had to take my parents' reads.
Yes.
So for me, it was an opportunity to survive. I started telling them movies because at Shimoni, I remember when there was the National Teachers College. On Fridays, they used to bring movies. And remember, and during those days, there was nothing like Netflix, nothing. When a movie would come, the whole world would know this is John Rambo, First Blood. You watch First Blood for 6 months. Then the second blood, then the third blood. So by the time the second blood comes, you even know the text, the words. Delta Force. You watched Chuck Norris. You watch Chuck Norris. And
is that the one where you had the
motorbike? When they were hitting Beirut. So imagine. We watched
Chuck Norris go by the way.
Man, he's there. Chuck Norris. Anyway, now, and those guys, I think they cheated us. We need a refund because every Friday we used to go to the National Teachers College to watch Chuck Norris. You're watching the same thing, but you're paying 20 shillings.
20 Uganda shillings?
Yes, 20 shillings.
They just repeat the thing.
They play the same thing.
For 6 months.
For 6 months. And you're watching.
That's in total 6 times 2, that's 120 shillings.
Yes. Those were, I remember a pancake was 1 shilling. How many pancakes are those?
This is small one.
Yes, Kavaragala Gonja. So I started telling these guys stories, movies. They had not watched them because I mean they were scarce. I started thinking, they all look at me. I say, if you want me to continue with the story, each one 3 papyrus reads here. Then they put. Then I said, now Chuck Norris went, then he found this other guy, then he came and was about to come. They will say, you carry if you want me to continue with the story. You leave them at a cliffhanger. Then you reach there and tell them now. So Chuck Norris came, he had this motorbike which had missiles. Then the missile came. Now, if you want me to continue the story, you start now making the math. Just know, by the end of the term, I had a math, which I hadn't touched. I told stories. I ran out of stories. I told them the good, the bad, and the ugly. That was Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, Clint Eastwood. I told them all kinds of Wild Geese, all the movies I had watched, to a point that I ran out of movies, and I had to tell them Sound of Music with action. Because they wanted action. The Mona Maria Kisha, how do you solve a problem like Maria?
So now that's the experience that welcomes you to Busheng now.
So I had to be innovative, you know. I told them stories, and because they were stars, and my mat, it was collective contribution. Each one was working on it. It was the best mat at the end of the term, and I got a present for having the best mat.
Which you did not touch in the making.
Which I didn't touch in the making, and the present was a plastic cup. Imagine, that's why I hate butter trade. A plastic cup.
Like a whole cup. What's the size of the cup?
Tampeko, that half liter.
What was the color?
It was green with the lines on the side.
Yes, I remember those.
Tampeko.
Wow.
So from there, that's why I did my P7. I finished my P7 and Buranyanji Primary School. And actually, it was even my first time to be in the newspapers. I had 6 points
from P7. Wow.
P7.
Which newspaper were you in?
It is a local newspaper.
Kenneth Chimuri.
I even still have that newspaper cutting.
Your name was appearing there.
The list. So I go to Barra High School. Now, when I was in Barra High School, and at that time things were quite interesting. Because I met guys from all walks of life. Guys who had come from Shimoni, But then, at that time, remember my guardian, my maternal uncle, Mr. Robert Mshagara, had lost his job. And the thing I liked about him is that he would tell me.
He's the same one of Development Bank.
Of Wanyankole Kwete.
Yes.
So he had started his own consultancy in Imbara, but he used to come over the weekend. It was called Alba Consultants. And so he would go. So one day he comes and tells me now.
But wait, from like P4 up to P7, you had never watched any other movie at all?
No, I never got to
Apart
watch.
from the movies you are telling.
Yeah, I was basing on history.
Okay.
Yeah, I became a historian until I went to until I went back to Bara High School.
Yeah.
There we had an opportunity to go to the Rave Corner, watch movies, you know.
Yes.
But between P4 and P7,
No movie.
yeah, I was cut off from civilization.
Yes.
Yeah. And for me, it was quite interesting
Yeah.
because when I went to high school, I was dying to watch movies, you know,
yeah.
watch Terminator and things
After
like
that, they had
that.
this,
Yes, True Lies,
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, Allah.
Yeah.
And so I got to my high school, and for me, where I got the financial acumen.
Wait, but let's first appreciate this guy's storytelling. This guy is bad. Do you know, you have quoted us as if we are in those guys used to tell the movies. No, you go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
You're really
appreciate.
very good. Yeah.
I appreciate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one day, I remember I was in my senior too,
Yeah.
and my uncle comes and he tells me, you know what?
Yeah.
This term, it was second term, I remember very well.
Yeah.
And tells me things are tough. Yeah? So, we used to study on the promissory notes. You know, he gives you a letter.
Yeah.
Take to Mr. Tebasimu, the headmaster.
Yes.
He says, I promise to bring you some money in the middle of the term, you know?
Yes,
So
that's
give this man a meal card. So, one day, my guardian tells me things are tough.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
So he gives me 5,000 shillings.
Yeah.
And says, but it includes transport from Bushenyi to Mbarara.
Oh.
And he tells me that I'm sure in the middle of the term some things will. Well, he was my friend. He was
Yes.
my friend.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed on last year.
That's sad.
And so he gives me this 5,000. And I say, okay, what next? By the time he tells me this,
Yeah.
the future is not bright this term.
Yes.
So I go to my grandma. My grandma had millet.
Yes.
So I tell her, do you have I want a debe. A
Yeah.
debe is a debe. A debe has no
Devil.
other name in
Yeah,
English.
it can't
Yeah.
be. What is a devil?
A
in
debe
English?
is a debe.
Is it there?
Yeah.
And
So,
Mozungu?
debe. So she gives me a debe.
Yeah.
So she gave me a debe of millet.
Yeah.
But it was bigger than the buvera. So what I did, I got my suitcase.
Yes.
And I removed the books and I put them in a kavera. Remember this buvera which had the calendar on one side
Yes,
and
they
the
were green
Chinese,
and pink. Yes, yes,
written on PIR Piru.
Yes. This man.
Yeah.
these things.
So I got my books and I put them in the kavera.
Yes.
And I put millet
Uh-huh.
in the suitcase.
Yes.
Went to school.
This metal suitcase,
Metal,
the blue one.
I went with my suitcase. So meanwhile, this transport by then was 1,000
Yeah.
to Mbara. I had my 4,000. There was a lady who used to make very good cassava called Mrs. Senzera. May her soul rest in peace. I give her 2,000 and I tell her every break time give me 2 pieces of cassava.
Yes.
Yeah, because I knew it was going to be very hard to calculate
Yes.
how much is each piece
Yeah.
of cassava.
Yeah.
So I knew that I have cassava at least up to the mid-term.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was remaining with 2,000.
Yes.
So I buried the 2,000 in the millet.
Somewhere
Now,
in the middle.
in the millet and
In your
kept quiet.
suitcase, yeah,
I was very punctual at the dining to eat portion and porridge to make sure I was timing time.
Yeah.
That guy sang Moses, Dozanyiso Wood.
Yeah.
I was,
Moses
and now
Radio, yeah.
I befriended guys who were from Kampala, who used to stay in Bugolobi flats,
Yes.
They used to come with biscuits, nice
yeah.
biscuits. So I tell them, when your biscuits are done, give me the tins. I just want the tins. They know
Yeah.
the biscuit you eat.
Yeah.
So they'd give me the tins.
Yeah.
Now, mid-term, Kayas, people are broke.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Everyone remembers that
Everybody
moment.
is broke.
Yeah.
So I went and got my millet.
Yeah.
I went to the grinding machine.
Yeah.
And you know it has a multiple
Oh,
effect.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I had
becomes
my 2,000 there. I remember it would cost me 700 to grind.
Yes.
So I had my 1,300 shillings.
Yes.
So I made millet. Now I bought some sugar using the 1,000. And I mixed some millet with sugar.
Yes.
And the one I mixed, I put it in the tins.
Okay.
Those tins of
Those
biscuits.
biscuits,
Yeah.
yes.
So I had the millet, flour, which has sugar and which
Yes.
doesn't have sugar. So I was selling
Platinum and gold.
platinum and gold. It's younger. Hey, so
Yeah.
if you want the one with sugar, a spoon is 50 shillings.
Hey.
Hey.
You are selling.
Hey. Business was booming. I was in Addis Ababa. Allah.
Wow.
So while the guys were taking my sianga,
Yeah.
I was enjoying millet and eggs in the canteen.
Wow. That's
So-
dope. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was good. That was a really responsible business mind that you
Yeah,
had
so
down there.
I think that's why
Yeah.
they say that necessity is the mother of invention. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So and then
Yeah.
I said, but Pablo, if symptoms persist, what will happen?
Uh-huh.
So I decided to stand for food prefect.
In the same school.
Yes.
Yes.
I said, now being a chairman school council.
Yeah.
So I stood for food prefect.
Foods.
Yeah, food. It was a serious position.
I know. Yeah. You
being at the source,
Yeah.
where you eat anytime.
Everyone wanted to be your friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
You buy a giant flask, you remove the vacuum, you sell it.
Yes.
And use the other one, you pour quantity. It was about quantity. Anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I stood for food prefect.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't have money to give guys.
Oh, they wanted money
There
then.
were 3 guys standing. But actually, the reason I stood
Yeah.
was just to make the election fun. Because
Yeah.
those days to stand for food prefect,
Yeah.
you had to pick up a day.
Yeah, and eating a
Yeah, you
lot,
have
by
to
the
eat
way.
a lot.
They would choose, they would nominate people to
And
go
I
for
felt
that post.
stigmatized.
Yeah.
I was stigmatized because I was small, mosquito
Oh,
weight,
yeah.
down to earth, you know.
Yeah.
I said, no. I had a friend called Bendeza Livingstone.
Yeah.
I said, let's make this election interesting.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to stand for food prefect.
Yeah.
So I stand for food prefect. Guys would even laugh.
Yeah, to see-
Because they knew me. I was very vocal in debate.
Yeah.
I was a very good football spectator.
Oh.
They would rather leave a substitute and take
And
me.
take, yeah.
Yeah. So,
People are just translating that, yeah.
so
Yeah.
I stand for food prefect.
Yeah.
Now, these guys, I stood with 2 guys.
Yeah.
They made posters.
Oh.
I saw posters. By then, having a black and white poster.
Yeah.
Hello, you are rich.
Yes.
Then I saw what they had written on the posters for unity, democracy, development. In my head, I was like, in the dining, there is no unity.
There is no democracy.
There is no democracy.
Yes, yeah.
I said, no.
Yeah.
So I went to the secretary of, I think it was the office messenger.
Yes.
I called the camera guy, went to the kitchen,
Yeah.
and stood next to a boiler
Yeah.
and dishes. And I was serving.
Yeah.
I said, you take this photo. Then I took that photo and gave it to the office messenger,
Yeah.
who gave it to the secretary. She was a stenographer, something like that.
Yeah.
They used to use that thing to make it was a machine
Yeah.
that used to make like colored one color, like a blue color. So why?
Oh, it was printing color.
Printing color.
Yeah.
So I wrote a vote for Kenneth Kimuli is a vote for quality, quantity,
Yeah.
and maximum satisfaction. Those are the 3 things you find in the dining.
Yeah.
Yes,
People
there's.
knew they were going to
Hey.
eat and, yeah.
So I made only 3 posters because we had 3 notes boards.
Yeah. Yes.
So I put there, cha.
Yeah.
When the guys came,
They
they
said-
said, the man is already in the kitchen. Why don't we vote for the brother?
Yeah.
On the day of election,
Yes.
others had success cards for senior 4, senior 6. Mine had a meal card. I said, you only need a meal card.
Yes. That's
enter
the
the
campaign
dining.
now, yeah.
Yes.
You had like one final
Yes,
campaign day,
yes.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I said, success card, everybody has success.
Yes.
All you need is a meal card.
yeah.
I got 92% of the vote.
Wow.
But although it came at a price.
Yeah.
One day they prepared very bad porridge. The brothers picked me as if I was a noob.
Your V8 was not the one. They said it was Ahmad.
I didn't know how I entered the dining. I
Yeah.
was in bed.
Yeah.
By the time I opened my eyes, I was seated on a table with a dish. They said, is this the quality and quantity you promised us? You see,
Whoa.
Allah, the porridge was bitter.
Yeah.
Now they said, you drink. They gave me 2 cups. I took 1 sip.
Yeah.
As soon as I took a sip, I became even more angry than them. I kicked the dish. Pa! What is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
No. They said, no. I said, this can't happen. I walked.
Yeah.
I went to the kitchen.
Yes.
I told the cooks, run away. These guys will kill you.
Pablo.
The cooks ran away. I said, no.
Oh, this is in Mbarara High School.
Mbarara High School.
you
They
man.
said, yes.
Yeah.
You go to the headmaster. I said, give me a flask.
Yeah.
Pour the porridge.
Yeah.
They put in the flask. I said, the headmaster has to test.
Yes.
I went. I said, I will even go ahead of you.
Headmaster's office.
Hey,
His
home.
home. Yeah.
I said, you wait for me there.
Yeah.
I went to the headmaster. I said, run away. These boys will finish you. I even don't know why he
You are
passed.
the mediocre. You are playing.
Hey,
you know,
I had to be
the middleman.
political.
Yeah.
I
That's
came
a
back.
good thing.
I said, the headmaster is not there, but leave this to me.
Yeah.
Leave this to who? You go
you.
to class.
Yes.
Don't even drink.
Yes. They
So
went to class.
they went.
Yeah.
Hey, so I went, told the headmaster at break time.
Yeah.
That was the first time the school ever had break porridge.
Oh.
They went and brought very nice porridge.
Yes.
Guys were
The
like,
white
yeah.
one now.
Oh,
Yeah.
guys were, yeah, chumurweza niwe.
Yeah.
But I had to look for a disclaimer.
Yes.
I told the members, we have just discovered that our flour was taken to Chamugora and sewing mill,
Yes.
and it was mixed with the one of prisoners.
So,
So there's a possibility that it might become bitter again. Just know it was a sack that was mixed.
yes.
In hours. They said, yes, no problem.
We shall wait.
48 hours later, it happened.
It was again brown.
It was bad porridge. I was like, but you remember what I told you? We are still salty. Yes.
Anyway, so fast forward.
Yes.
Now you live with all this history, Mbarara High School you
Yes.
live, and you go to university.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
Mbarara School, when I was done with Mbarara School, I remember before I left, we had a civilized strike
Yeah.
that had us suspended in senior 5 and 6.
Oh.
But we were allowed to come and do exams because it was a justifiable cause.
Yes.
And so it really destabilized me. Yeah, but all my life,
Yeah.
I wanted to be a journalist.
Oh.
All my life. Because when I was young,
Yeah.
my dad used to watch UTV News.
Yes.
Yeah, every day at 9. Dun, 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 dun,
Ballet
the
Brazil.
Neils right here, ball, the Francis. That man was old by. So I used to love news. I used to have the TV program
Yeah.
from Monday to Sunday. And remember those days, TV used to start at 6.
6 p.m.
Yes.
That thing of tea.
Yeah, the one of me would come at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
They would put a thing which was multicolored like a
Yes,
rainbow.
yes,
Written on Transtel Cologne.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then they start playing at 6:15.
Yeah.
They start playing some music. Did you happen to see the most beautiful girl in the world? Some nice music.
Yeah.
Then at 6, Charlotte Sally comes. This is Charlotte Sally, the program announcer. So that's how much I knew TV. I knew that at 7,
Yeah.
it is amawulire.
Yeah.
Museyonda amawulire agagano gabasomera Lawrence Chagera Musisi katutandike n'emitwe emikulu egigalimu. Then after that they put Swahili. Hamjambo msomaji Kigundu Masagazi. Rais Yoweri Museveni, every day Rais Yoweri Museveni. Until I asked myself, this man eats rice every day? Until I found out the word rice means His Excellency.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I loved TV.
Yeah.
I loved TV. I knew the programs. So growing up, I wanted to become a journalist.
Yeah.
So when my senior 6 results came,
Yeah.
I successfully failed to get the points
Oh.
to do mass communication.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they gave me BCom external
Yes.
at Makerere University. BCom external.
Yeah.
It has mathematics. Me, mathematics.
Yeah.
The only thing I can do is abacus. Mathematics.
Yeah.
Even counting coins is a problem.
Yeah.
So I said I can't. I left X in primary.
Yeah.
I found X in secondary. Then I find X
Now
in
at
university.
Yeah.
And you know the problems with X?
Yes.
Yeah? They cannot spoil your marriage.
I know.
I said I'm not finding X. If I couldn't find it then,
Yes.
I'm not following it at campus.
Uh-huh.
So I decided I'm going to UMI to do a diploma in journalism.
Yeah.
Now, while I was still there, my cousin Kwezi Kaganda, who's with Fun Factory,
Yes.
had come from Namasagali to attend the brothers' graduation. And he tells me, what are you doing? I say, I'm going to do a diploma. He says, what?
Yeah.
He says, come. Takes me to Father Grimes.
Oh,
But that's
yeah.
when they had Namasagali University. I show him my results. He's like, come on, you're going to do the diploma. That's a bloody course. You just come here.
Yeah.
He took me to Namasagali University. I tell you, I was at the beach for 3 years.
it was a beach.
Oh, fire! I reached Namasagari. I was first of all in a mixed school.
Yeah.
I looked at the people. They were half dressed. I didn't know. At some point, I thought that maybe they were in a rush to go to class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was there?
By then,
Who are these the famous names?
Aisha Alabai,
Yeah.
Shabiro Raymond.
Yes.
I found when Makaheru had just stepped out.
Yeah.
Bob Bagaire. Yeah, it was
All
like
these stars were.
all those stars were
That
there.
same school on Ginger Road there. Is that the same one?
The Masakala University.
Yeah.
Actually, it's now Busitema.
Okay.
I think they combined it and it
Yeah.
became Busitema. I think like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But the beauty I loved about it is that they exposed us.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we're allowed to do things that were out of our course.
Okay.
Like performing arts. That's
Yeah.
how I became interested in arts.
Yeah.
I used to go for dance class, you know.
Okay, yeah.
And then they allowed us to act in the plays.
Okay.
With sometimes with the college students. I remember Legend of the Scepter, Luanda Magere. We acted at the National Theatre. I was excited.
Yeah.
And seeing the flash bulbs. When I finished,
Yeah.
I came. When I finished my course, I went to work with Daily Monitor as a freelancer.
Okay.
I started-
Writing
yeah,
as a writer.
yeah, because they took me on as a freelancer.
Yeah.
I used to go look for stories, you know, come.
Yeah.
Until Odobo Bichachi told me, you know, if you want to be part of us, you need to get a good story.
Yeah.
A story that will sell you and people go like, yeah, we need to adopt this guy into the system.
Yeah.
So I went back to Bushenyi. There was a man called Chigate. Chigate used to mend shoes in Weranyanji girls.
Yeah.
And he used to tell me stories of how he was a cobbler. And he had mended Janet Museveni's shoes and Miriam Matembe.
Oh.
I said, this is a good story.
Yes.
I went and I brought the story.
Yeah.
Brought it to Daily Monitor. Very happy. They said, this is a very good story, but
Yes.
it's not politically the right time to have such a story. I think there was some tension around that time.
Yeah. Campaigns and stuff.
So they said, the story I think was, they said it's a good story, but
We shall use it in
we shall
future.
use it another day. I think
Yeah.
it's still there at the desk. And the guy died, the cobbler.
The editor. I was like your editor
The
now.
editor is there. I think Odobo Bichachi is still there.
Yeah.
He's an amazing, but he was a very good man.
Yeah.
He loved the energy. He said, you have energy. There's something about you
Yeah.
that is special.
Yeah.
And you need to go out and look out for it. And so he said, but for now, they needed some freelancers on the entertainment desk. There was a lady called Elizabeth Camel. So they sent me to the entertainment desk. By then, Moses Serugo used to do an article called Up Close, you know,
Okay.
looking. So they used to send me to theater.
Yeah.
And when I reached theater, I found Philip Luswata, Kwezi
Yes.
Kaganda,
Yeah.
Bujingo Hannington, Tuwanje were fresh from university.
Yeah.
They were trying to, you know,
Hey, what can we do?
And
Yeah.
then we used to go to the musicians club.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one that was up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so we used to find legends there. The late Eli Wamala, the late Jimmy Katumba. There were people who were, you know, you only read in the papers, the Rachel Magolas,
yeah.
and jam session was an opportunity
Yeah.
for us to even see them perform songs we used to listen to when we were young.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Wow.
Eh,
Yeah.
Mama Fumbi Chtobero. It says, I used to hear,
Chtobero,
and they would play that song and say, these are the guys who sang this song, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I fell in love with theater.
Okay.
I fell in love with theater.
Yeah.
And that's when Philip Luswata had started.
Okay. No, but did you ever write a story and it comes out?
Yeah, a number of them, you know.
Okay.
But at some point I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Because they used to pay us according to, as a freelancer, they pay you per article.
Oh.
So one time I wrote a story about, there were some dancers, I'm trying to remember their names. They were country light dancers.
Okay.
And I wrote a story about them and it ran,
Yeah.
but they put by our reporter.
They didn't put.
They didn't put my byline by
Yeah.
Kenneth Chimu. They put by our reporter.
Yeah.
So when I went to claim for the money, they said, but it was by our reporter.
Our reporter ate the
You
money.
can be anybody. So I was.
Things, yeah.
Yeah, those are some of the occupational hazards.
Uh-huh.
So I find Philip Luswata starting Theatre Factory.
Yes.
By then they were acting at a place called Irish Pub, which later became Stick Out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I went back to Elizabeth Camel and I told her that these guys who are starting a comedy outfit.
Yeah.
And she said, follow the story. We need a hook. We need
Yeah.
a hook. You
Yeah.
know, we need, there has to be a reason why we are writing this story.
Yeah.
So in the process of looking for the hook, I was hooked up. Yeah. And how was I hooked up? They were in the creative process.
Yes.
And they needed somebody, and they were making stories.
Yeah.
And they wanted more stories. And so Kwezi told me, but Ken, you were in Bushenyi, and there are some Bushenyi stories.
Yes.
And I told them a story of a guy called Rukandema,
Yeah.
who came to Kampala, went to a bar, and he saw people asking for drinks. They were mentioning names.
Yes.
Give me Jack Daniels, John Walker,
Yeah.
Gilbey's.
Yeah.
So he thought that you mention your name and they give you a drink.
Yes.
So he said, Rukandema Roberti, nothing. And so nobody was willing to act that part. They said, since you know the story,
Yeah.
you're going to act that part.
Yeah.
That was my first skit.
Oh.
So I acted as Rukandema. There was a man called Seka Jugo.
Yeah.
He laughed and said, this man is called Rukandema. So Rukandema was my first nickname.
Oh.
So from
there.
Stick Out,
Yeah.
I think it changed ownership.
Uh-huh.
And then we were evicted. We had to look for another place.
Yeah.
So we went to a place called TLC on George Street.
Yes.
It's now also deceased. It's a car bond.
Yeah.
Good
That's
Lord.
sad, yeah.
Yes. So there was the owner of the bar was called Dr. To.
Yeah.
It was a Mzungu. I think it was mixed race or something like that. So we went and told him we can make your people laugh.
Yeah.
The man laughed. He said, "You're serious?"
Yeah.
And you know Ugandans like sampling as if
Yes.
you're selling G-nuts.
Yeah.
He said, "You sample me."
Yeah.
So he called his wife and their son. I think it was a boy. I don't remember, but it was a young child.
Yeah.
And he said, we were 8 people acting for 3 people, including a minor. That was child abuse. Yeah? Imagine, we were 8 people. That was the first time where the audience was bigger. I mean, the performers were more than the audience.
Yeah.
We performed 5 skits,
Yeah.
and the man laughed. He said, okay, you called the lady, you give them rice.
Yeah.
So they gave us rice. Our first payment was rice.
Yeah.
So he said, now you can come here
guy,
every
man, yeah.
you can come here every Thursday.
Yeah.
And if the people laugh,
It's
he
okay.
said, you don't worry.
Yeah. You
Come
started
with the
now.
Frobisha,
Yes.
Namanda Veronica.
Oh yeah.
Man, the real cast.
Yeah.
The first time we act, people looked at us. We were more annoying than entertaining. They said, what are these guys doing?
Yeah.
Then Philip said, no, we need to change the approach.
Okay.
So he said, let's use what they call invisible theater.
Yeah.
Invisible theater is where you come and sit in the audience like how these people are here.
Yes.
And then you start arguing between each other.
Yeah.
And people think that you're fighting.
Ah, yeah.
Then
They
you start
join.
moving. Before they know it, you're on stage.
Oh.
And now you're acting for them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like boiling a frog.
Yeah.
You know when you're boiling a frog,
How do you
you
boil a
don't
frog?
boil water and throw it there. It will
Hey.
jump.
Hey.
Hey, so you have to first put it in cold water so it enjoys. As you're cooking it, it's warming up. Before you know it, it is supper. Yeah, that's the Chinese theory. So,
Yeah, guy, give this guy a round of applause, man. One special thing about is like people never see your punchlines coming.
yeah.
You always grab us. Anyway, yeah.
So we had to, prepare the audience,
Yeah.
act as if before they knew it.
Yeah.
It became a public secret.
Okay.
Like, what you ever see with TLC? There are some fools there who are very interesting.
Yes.
We became fools,
Yeah.
And I think by then, there was only one SMS company called True Africa
Yeah.
at Spear House. So we
Yes.
used to go and send messages. You come and see crazy people.
Yeah.
It was for free.
Oh no.
Yeah,
man.
we acted at TLC like for a year and a half.
No payment.
No payment.
You
Yeah,
go back
airbaggers. But
Yeah.
we're excited, until
Yeah.
the owner of TLC opened our eyes. He noticed that people were now coming because of the comedy,
Yeah.
not because of
The food.
yeah,
and
because
drink.
so he said, now
Yeah.
I'm going to start charging the people.
Yeah.
Started charging them 1,000.
Uh-huh.
The more he charged, the more they came. It
Yeah.
became 2,000, 3,000.
Yeah.
And then I think along the way, the place became small.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to add more money
On the charge.
On the charge.
Yeah.
So he said, now you're the ones who are going to pay me. And then you charge people at the gate.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had to shift to National Theatre,
Yeah.
go to the Grim Room.
Yeah.
And around that time, that's when NTV was starting.
Yeah.
And when NTV was starting, it was looking for local content.
Yeah.
And that's how the show was adopted into what became Barbed Wire.
Oh yes.
Yes,
Barbed Wire.
that's what.
It's
that's
now
how
2003.
NTV had come, I think 2006 there.
Okay.
And so that's how it was adopted, the show, and it became
Barbed Wire.
Barbed Wire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it all came from
From
from that place. Now,
Yes.
how did I start doing stand-up comedy? Because
Yeah.
at that time, it it was a genre that wasn't.
It wasn't there.
It wasn't
you were
there.
all acting together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now this is how it came up. Theatre Factory was very professional. They had strict rules. If you don't rehearse on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you don't appear on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah. Now here I was. I had gotten a job with Power FM, but I used to do up to 9.
Yeah.
And then Rock Point had started.
Yeah.
And I was a script writer.
Okay.
Then the productions director had to go for further studies.
Yeah.
And they needed somebody who knew Luganda, 4 hours English, and could easily understand Luo and Ateso.
Yeah.
And they said, this guy Pablo, he's interesting. He could. So they called me. They said, can you do it? I said, no problem.
Yeah.
They even first took me to Soroti, voice of Teso,
yes.
to first see if I could listen to them and know where they were going wrong.
Yeah.
And they were surprised that I could do it, you know. And they even gave me a name, Aturot, which means flower. Hey, so I'm a Teso by choice. So basically, so I couldn't, because I didn't have time to rehearse.
Yeah.
I couldn't act. But then there are some people who had said, but there's this Pablo guy, we no longer see him.
Yeah.
So Philip said, whenever we are switching from one skit to another, come and do a filler.
Okay.
Just crack a joke or two, so that people can, as we go from one skit to another,
tell them something about Uganda.
Yeah. So I would come, but because I was scared in my heart, I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
I had to boost myself.
Okay.
And I would come saying, happiness is killing me. This one is calling me.
Yeah.
Just to boost myself. And where did I get that? I got it from a taxi. I was going to Kamuli, and I sat next to some lady, and I greeted her, and she didn't answer me. I thought about what's happening to this lady. Until we reached Namawojolo, and she saw a friend. She got excited. I was like, you mean happiness can kill somebody?
Yeah.
So she got so happy. And so when I wanted to encourage myself. I remember that lady saying, Amasa nugali kundita. And I translated it to, happiness is killing me. So I used to come on stage, happiness is killing me. Digidi. This one is calling me. Digidi. That one is telling me, happiness, mama, happiness. And so that's how, just to because people didn't understand morale. People didn't know what I was doing. So I would come, crack a joke or two. Like that. And then, as time went by, people picked interest in the link than the actual skit.
That's sad.
So Philip told me, now we need to change. And you get all the jokes and make a set. And then you come at once. So that's how I started doing.
So you at first used to come in like 4 times?
In 4 times or 5 times. And so just make it one. And that's how I started stand up. I had no intention. But
now, are you guys still in the green room or you're now outside?
Now we're outside. The numbers had grown. We're now in the green.
That's when we were coming in. I guess we used to come to watch.
I remember Salvador coming through. But then he was an engineer with MTN. Yes, and he was always passionate about it. And not COVID.
So if it was, the vaccines are coming next week.
So I with time, it picked Barbed Wire was a springboard towards our success. And I think that's what made Mnet pick interest in Uganda. And then we had Stand Up Uganda, where we had amazing performers. Alex Mahanji. I still have the videos, by the way, in case you need some of them.
Nice.
A great team of guys. And we had, and that was the birth of the real stand-up comedy industry in Uganda. The rest is history.
Wow. Congrats. So when you are doing stand-up, that's the one outside, the one at National Theatre, the upper side. There's one of you, every week you'd come with a different set. But there's one specific set. Unfortunately, I can't remember the exact joke the way it was, but you were talking about you were in a taxi coming from Muntinda and there was a punchline at every stage. Do you still remember that joke?
That's a very good one. Honestly, do I?
Yeah.
I need to juggle my mind.
But you are talking about Nentukakasasiro.
It was the names of the stages.
I think.
And then there was the Esso corner when there's no Esso. And there's no petrol station of Esso. And then there was the Kumiyembe, yet there was no tree. Until the guy said Kukasasirao, to rubbish. It was quite interesting.
It was so that time I think was really nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. And it was a test for me. Because I'd never done stand-up. And There's a day I died on stage.
Yeah.
Dying on
That's the
stage.
good question that everyone asks every stand-up comedian. Have you ever tried to tell jokes and people don't laugh? Yeah.
That death.
Yes.
La la la. Every time I remember
I can
it.
hear Napoleon laughing. That's his laugh. Napoleon, where are you? He said,
Every time I remember that death, I
Yeah.
remember the Uganda matters.
hey.
I died.
What happened?
Now-
What makes a comedian die? When you're on
Well, you
fire
see-
like that?
Sometimes in your mind you have jokes and you think they are funny.
Oh.
But if you don't pretest them,
Yes.
you will successfully die. Because you don't know where the punchline is. The punchline is according to you. Now, this was the story.
Yeah.
It was about rats, the
Yeah.
different ways of killing a rat.
Yeah. That was the joke. Yeah.
That was the joke, the
Yeah.
theme. So I come happiness, and let me tell you, the worst thing that can ever happen to a comedian
Yeah.
is getting a stand-up ovation before you start.
Yeah.
What will you end with? So the people shouted, "Hi, happiness, see, people are happy."
Yeah.
I said, you know, there are many ways of killing a rat.
Yeah.
If you want to kill a rat,
Yeah.
get posho, mix it with cement,
Yeah.
put it there, and some water nearby.
Yeah.
The rat will come and eat the posho.
Yeah.
And inside, it will become thirsty and come and drink water, and it will form a brick in the stomach.
It is
At
funny.
least you've laughed.
Is that not funny, guys? That's crazy.
Then people didn't laugh. They said, okay, make sure that that water has piriton.
Yeah.
So that when it eats,
Yeah.
it slips and you find it there. Nobody laughed. I looked at the people, and you know when you're on stage,
Yeah.
you're also having a conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like, are these people related to the rats? What is happening?
Yeah.
Then,
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Then I said, okay, you get a rat glue. Let's now get it to the normal ways.
Yeah.
And nobody laughed. They were so silent, you could even hear a pin drop. I chased myself off stage. I said, thank you. They looked at me.
Yeah.
It's as if they'd been baptized in bitter lemon. I walked, I went backstage.
Yeah.
I found everybody waiting for me as if
This is the man who was
yes,
dying.
as if I was Barabbas.
Yeah.
Hey, Judas is here.
Yeah.
They told me, the director of the day, I want to mention his name,
Yeah.
told me, Pablo, this is comedy, not tragedy.
So,
But,
yeah.
how you saying?
No, I'm asking, what do you learn from that? What would kill someone and what wouldn't? Because now you're talking to a comedian.
They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
While I was backstage, and I am always grateful to Hannington Obujingo.
Yes.
Hannington Obujingo walked up to me and told me, Pablo, there's still some time.
Yeah.
Can you think of another joke
Yeah.
and come back? I was like, man, I'm not ready to die twice like Chapo.
Yeah.
He said, you can.
Yeah.
He said, we still have some time. Come back.
Yeah.
So I said, well, what joke do I come up with? Then I'd prepared some content, but I didn't want to use it because I didn't think it would be funny.
Yeah.
But something told me go on stage.
Yeah.
I said, I'm ready. I came back and they said, once again, Pablo. Everybody was silent.
He's back. Yeah.
They saw like, hey.
Yeah.
I was back again like a bad penny.
Yeah.
I came back. I said, now imagine
Yeah.
if our politicians were pastors.
Yeah.
What would happen? Imagine if Chiza Vesje was a pastor, if Andrew Mwenda was a pastor, if President Museveni was a pastor, if Namirembe Bitamazire was a pastor. They looked at me.
This
I
man.
said, imagine Namirembe Bitamazire. She used to have a very small voice.
Yeah.
Hey, we shall not accept any kind of person who does not accept Christ. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
A few people laughed. They said, uh-huh.
Marina.
Now, the guy, then I imitated Andrew Mwenda. Imagine if Andrew Mwenda was a pastor. I think, he thinks faster, he speaks faster than he thinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it will be the shortest sermon. The council of the world said, "It is going to son of a is going to perish but have everlasting life." Offertory. And then, so
They
I
laughed
told
now.
them, yes, and then my punchline was Besije.
Yeah.
Imagine if Besije was a pastor. Hallelujah, one people, one Jesus. And people said, as soon as I got the laugh,
Yeah.
I jumped off stage. It was the shortest performance, but the most fulfilling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
So as a comedian,
Yeah.
when you die on stage, it's not the last. because I died again, late again, 5 times. But that experience
Yeah.
encouraged me.
I understand.
Yes.
So you win money in the competition where we were.
Yeah, sure.
You stood out, and by far you were the best.
By God's grace.
Yeah, there was no doubt. Even
Yes.
before, we could tell that, of course, we're all looking up to you, and then you are also very good. So what happened? This is, which year was this? 2009?
That was 2009.
Yeah.
2009.
You won 10,000.
10,000 US dollars. That was around.
Do you know that's 38 million today?
That's 38 million.
Yes. How much was it then?
By then it was 20 million.
So the dollar rate was
Yes,
2,000.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So you win that money.
I win that money.
Give us the experience quickly, like
Yeah, I got very many phone calls from
your
people
exes.
who said they used to look after me when I was a young child. The landlord increased rent. So basically, there were many interesting calls. Yeah. But then that's the time I birthed the idea to start a comedy show, the Pablo Live Show.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I said, I think we need to start a real comedy show.
Yeah.
And I went to a place called Open House.
Yes, I
And
remember. after
yes,
ABC,
yes. And I started the Pablo Live Show, and I made sure that at least we could create a space for just stand-up comedy.
Okay.
And that's how I started the Pablo Live Show, which is still runs up to this day.
Wow, that's
Yes.
nice. So how is it? How's so far you've been all, you're the guy who's been through. Actually, I don't think, well, apart from like Amot, who you would say you guys are legends, how has been the journey in your comedy, life, as in?
Yeah, like any other, you see, comedy is a funny way of being serious.
Yeah.
You address serious issues in a funny way. And like any other occupation,
Yes.
it also has hazards, and there's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might crack a joke that might be misinterpreted and might cause you trouble,
Yeah.
and you're reprimanded. Or sometimes you go to a place and maybe you don't understand the audience very well.
Yeah.
And then, or maybe you have a show and people don't show up,
Yeah.
and you feel, have I failed?
Yeah.
Or was it poor marketing, So there are many things that have happened along the way. I remember there's a show I did one time I did a show at La Bonita some years back.
Yeah.
And the people were there were very few, very few.
That's sad.
But thanks to the darkness, you couldn't know
Yeah, you switch
until
off
the
the
show
lights.
ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you say, hey, you mean it was only you? So, but you see, that taught me that as a performer,
Yeah.
you're not performing for numbers, you're performing for an individual.
Yes.
If you're performing, even if it's one person that shows up,
Yeah.
give them the very best, because you never know who is that person.
That's
I remember in 2005, I think 2005 or 6,
Yeah.
I wrote a play, and it was called One Night Stand, and it was performed by Kampala KPC drama team.
Okay.
And I wrote this play, and I remember there were 3 Bazungu who came to watch.
Yes.
It was our second show, and we're like beating ourselves. But this Muzungu after came and said, I want to know who's the writer of this play. He was called Phil Pimberg.
Yeah.
And he took my number. I said, yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah.
And then in 2007,
Yes.
he sends me an email and says, I don't think you remember me,
Yeah.
but I am Phil Pimberg. I met you in Kampala. You were the one who wrote this play. And I'm inviting you to Sundance in the US, Salt Lake City, Utah, to come and be part of a theater lab.
Yes.
That was like 3-4 years later.
Uh-huh.
So you could see that this one person who was in the audience was more valuable than the hundreds who will
would
come
just
and
come.
go like, hey, uchukubye mwana.
Uchukubye never again.
Yes, so it taught me a lesson that when you're performing, give the very best.
Yes.
Even if nobody's seeing you, just do it like there's somebody watching. I've also had...
Is that the time when you were in the US? Was it the same time where there's a story about the US where where you were summoned to tell people about, there's that story that you usually tell, that I think they asked you to also, when you did Kappa. Is that the time?
Wow, that was the second time
Oh.
when I went to New York for the Lincoln Theater.
Yeah.
The Lincoln Theater. There it was quite interesting. That was the time when they had me, and I had done a joke about Kape Gobe Mese.
Yes.
The joke was, I was telling people that please, when you go to church, learn a song or a hymn, because you never know where it takes you.
Yeah.
One time there was a lady who had She used to serve in the church, Mothers Union. You know those women
Yeah.
who spit fire, demon chasing.
Yes.
And the church liked what she was doing, and they gave her a ticket for 2 to go to California. And so she had no option but to go with the husband. Now the husband was a pure warrior.
Yeah.
You know these guys who come every Sunday and they're just waiting for the service to end, you know?
Yeah.
And so they go to the US, and when they reached there, they go to a church.
Yeah.
And always they want to know first-time visitors.
Yeah.
And they said, do we have any first-time visitors here?
Yeah.
So they stood up. Now, unfortunately, they were the only visitors. They're like, wow, we got visitors. Where do you came from? Can you please come and tell us where you came from?
Yeah.
So they came to the front. Now, the church they went to had several, cameras, they have TVs, they are being, they are seen.
Yeah.
And said, wow, where do you came from? They gave the mic to the woman. Hello. Ha!
Yeah.
It was like a brand ambassador of Uganda.
Yeah.
Uganda, gifted by nature. Everybody was now, checking where is
Googling,
Uganda,
yeah.
Googling.
Yeah.
They were, is this your husband? Said, yes. Wow. Can your husband give us maybe one song?
Yeah.
One song, an African song. Ah! Things fall apart like Chinua Achebe.
Yeah. The guy was.
The man didn't know any song. He didn't know where to start from. He said, "What is this?" He couldn't remember any song. He would turn and just see his face on the different cameras.
Screen
So
there.
he said, "I'm not dying in this movie."
Yeah.
He started singing, "Kapa egoba goba, kapa egobe mese." Wife looked at him, tried to pinch him. He moved his hand. Kapa egoba goba, kapa egobe mese. Literally, loosely translated, it means that the cat is chasing the what?
The rat.
The rat.
Yeah.
Kapa, and that song has only those words.
Yeah.
They are
No
not more
verse.
than that.
Yeah.
Kapa, so the pastor thought that maybe he wants them to learn the song.
Yeah.
He signals to the
Back
guy
up.
on the keys. The guy on the bass. The bazooka got on fire. You should have heard them singing. Capri go go, Capri go 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 Macy, Capri go go, Capri go 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 Macy. Until the man got tired.
Yeah.
And he started Kappa, go back, Kappa. So they thought he had switched from praise to worship.
Yeah.
Didn't the bazungu start hallelujah, hallelujah, Kappa go go Macy, Kappa go go Macy, Jesus, hallelujah, Kappa. I said, yeah.
Yeah. That is Pablo for you. Always funny, man.
Yes.
Listen, so now, Pablo, many people say, people who are your friends, your teens, when I meet them, they tell me you used to be a bad boy. I hear people say you used to drink, you used to smoke, you used to... But then, when you started doing comedy, something happened. Take us through. What happened?
Well, I have no record of wrongs. I always rejoice in the truth.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think for me, they always say that you never get your skeletons out of the closet. You just let them be there.
Yeah.
And along the path, I chose to follow Christ,
Okay, wait.
Yes.
Do you acknowledge what they say?
Well, I should say yes.
Pablo wanywa ako mwenge.
I did. I used to drink.
What was your favorite drink then?
Let's tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I didn't discriminate.
Yeah.
Whatever you bring.
Yes.
We used to go to the deep in Ntinda.
Yes.
There was a guy called Daudi.
Yes, I remember Daudi, the manager. Yeah.
Yes, Lookout Entertainment was about there.
Yeah.
Jacobo's Joy.
Yes,
so
yes.
there were
whatever is there.
we were credit worthy.
Yeah.
Each bar had a book where they write the Noah or Jacobanja.
Yeah.
So I think for me, along that path, I had some of my friends and said, you know what? When I figured out that if I continue like this, I might die.
Okay, but did you also... was there shisha then?
No, there was no shisha.
So you were
shisha,
smoking?
Yeah, we used to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
But there was a cigarette that I refused to smoke.
Hey.
It was called Super Match.
Super Match was which one?
Super Match!
Yeah.
It was thick. It had thick tar. The tobacco,
Yeah.
First of all, the advert was very enticing.
Oh.
Ofuwe Super Match. Nowulire mpowo. Sigala omulala yena ojja kusuula eri. Saaza akabiriti. Owulire eddekedde. You go like I have to smoke Super Match. Until the day I saw somebody smoking it. The guy pulled. But the amount of smoke that came out of the mouth was so little. I said, yeah.
There's no decade here.
There's no decade here.
Wow.
Yes.
So you did that, and then how
Yeah.
did you flip? Many people have failed, by the way.
I think for me it was
Crossover.
2003.
Yeah.
I'd gone to the Deep.
Yes.
I was with my friend Ruta Gerard. This is
Yes.
my witness. So I go with Gerard. We have a swallow.
Yeah.
Actually, to be specific,
Yeah.
that's the time Gaetano had been
Come out
evicted
of Big
of
Brother.
Big
yeah.
Brother house.
Yeah.
And it was a national sorrow.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yes, everybody was sad. There was a bar in Ntinda, New Market. They used to call it "If Not, Why Not."
My
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Yeah, so we went with Gerard, we drank, but things were not okay.
Yeah.
So we connected to the Deep.
Uh-huh.
So we go to the Deep in Ntinda.
Yeah.
Ah, before that, we used to have a group called To Become One.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah.
Spice Girls.
Hey, man. We drink.
Yeah.
I tell Gerard, you know what? I need to go home. So I used to stay in Kula, Ntinda, near. So I take a walk.
Yeah.
That walk was enough to sober me up.
Oh.
So I reach home and I switch on TV. You know when you're looking for sleep.
Yeah.
And I see Joyce Meyer on TV, and she's saying, "Guys, you've lived your life. You need to look at your life now.
Yeah.
Do you know that the life you have spent right now is lesser than what you could be having in future?"
Wow.
And so it was
Very touching word.
it was a flashbulb, you know.
Yeah.
And so I tell Gerard, I've stopped.
You just called him there.
No, I came with him.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Gerard thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, I brush my shoes, I go to St. Luke Church. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go to St. Luke Church.
Yeah.
I come back, I find Gerard.
Yeah.
Gerard's like, "You are serious?"
Yeah.
Gives me a cigarette. I say, "Keep your cigarette, I don't want."
It was
No?
not supermarket.
Yeah, it was an embassy.
Yeah.
So,
Guy.
yeah, so I tell him I'm not smoking
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
And he thought I was joking.
Yeah.
And so I stopped.
From then.
I just closed. I think it was divine.
Yeah.
I can't say I had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
It must have been divine. It was.
You don't
divine.
miss it at all?
No.
Many people don't just stop. There's that addiction.
I'll tell you. That's why I say that for me,
Yeah.
it wasn't like a therapy that I went to Alcohol Anonymous.
Yeah.
That's why I say it was divine. It was the power of. It was the hand of God.
Wow.
It was the hand of God. Yeah. Yeah.
Give him
So
a-
I stopped there, and then actually even my sisters were like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to go to St. Luke Church, and then I was late.
Yeah.
By then, Watoto Church had started a branch in Ntinda.
Yes.
So I switched
Me and Derry
to go
there.
there.
Yeah.
And then the pastor says, "If you gave your life to Christ
Yeah.
in the course of the week, you come and be baptized."
Yeah.
I was like, "Did I give my life to Christ, or I just stopped drinking and
Yeah.
smoking?"
Yeah.
That's it. I couldn't draw the line in between.
Yeah.
Then there's that inner person that says, "You know what? What do you lose by being baptized?"
Yes.
I went.
You got
I
baptized.
got the dip to me in the water.
Yeah.
I said to cut 2 times. So that was September 23rd, the 8th of September 23rd, I think, if I remember very well.
Up to now, you've never tasted any alcoholic content, no smoked a cigarette.
No, the alcohol,
Yeah.
I should say, I don't know if wine is alcohol.
Yeah, it is not. Depending on the mood.
On the
Valentine's
first
Day, it is
Let me tell you
not.
what happened. There's a time I took wine in an understandable proportion
Yes.
because I had gone to the ambassador's place.
Yes.
And the ambassador couldn't take no for an answer.
Yes.
Yeah. He said, "I don't care what your religion says,
Yes.
but at least you
Taste.
drink." It was, what was the wine called? There was some, I forget the name.
But was it sweet? Did it
was sweet.
remind you of?
It was, well, I took it, but I said, "Now you know what."
Wow. But that's nice.
Yeah, but for me, from that day,
Yeah.
I intentionally said, "This
I'm
is
not going
out."
to do it
Yes,
again.
yes.
It was Joyce Meyer. Do you think any of our pastors here, and if you do, who do you think can change people's mind? Like can make you stop drinking or amongst our pastors?
I can't say that there's a specific pastor who can make you stop drinking.
Yeah.
Because this is, there are two things.
Yeah.
There is being intentional
Yeah.
and going through a process of counseling,
Yes.
Alcohol Anonymous,
Yeah.
and then you train.
But for this,
You train yourself psychologically.
Yes. Yeah.
There's that route.
Yeah.
But then there's the divine intervention. Like for me, I can't tell you that. I can't give you a formula on how to live drinking or smoking.
Yes.
Because for me, I believe it was divine.
Oh.
It was divine.
Yeah.
Like,
But it was divine after you watched Joyce Meyer, right?
pretty much.
That's
because,
what I'm saying.
yeah, that night.
With this incident,
Yes.
this is where I'm asking. Do you think there is any other pastor who will be preaching on radio or TV and people see him and stop? And if so, who do you think?
I think it's faith-based.
Yes.
Because the Lord says, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed,
Yes.
you can even move mountains. So it can even be a fake pastor.
Oh.
It can even be a false pastor.
Yeah.
But if your faith is in God,
Yes.
it's about the faith,
Ah.
not the person who's disseminating the information.
Yeah.
Because even the Bible says that the Lord can even use you
Yeah.
to win souls and you don't go to heaven.
Oh.
Yes. He says, if you're not willing to do my job, I can even use stones to preach the word. So for him, it's about, I can't specifically say that this pastor can because it's a doctrine, it's based on faith.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that's nice. Another thing,
Yes.
Pablo, a few weeks ago, you were standing in Bunyangabo?
Yes, Bunyangabo County.
Bunyangabo County. You
I
are.
feel good.
Yeah. You are. That's why I asked if we should address you as honorable.
Honorable, yes.
Because how did it go?
Well, I should say we won the battle but lost the war.
Oh.
Yeah, we went up to the end,
Yeah.
but we didn't win the prize.
Okay.
And for me, the reason I went into this political space, I felt that it had been polluted with mediocrity. It had been for lack of better word, it had been vulgarized in terms of if you don't have money, you can't win. So I said I set goals, and you'll be seeing it as we go by. There's some work in progress.
Okay.
I wanted to find out what happens if you break the rules.
Yes.
Because now they say if you don't have money, if you're not telling lies, and if you're not using witchcraft, the chances of winning are very slim. And I asked myself, what if I went against the odds?
Yes.
How far would I go into this? So I go into in this election, and you'll be watching and seeing what transpired. And I tell the people that I'm not giving you money. But I want to empower you, to transform you. And so if you have children, or if you want, I'm here to skill you. I'm going to mentor you in hairdressing, tailoring, shoemaking. And for me, that is, they called it sanitizer. That was the term. They want to sanitize the throat. So I told them, my sanitizer is through skilling you. And I would go for a rally. I give them my manifesto. They're excited until that point of you know, they have a proverb that akanwakasa kanunka, meaning that the mouth that doesn't eat smells. So
they want you to.
They want money. And I told them that the reason it smells is because you eat little, and then you take long without eating again. So I told them that I want to skill you how to make shoes, how to hairdress, such that when you start eating, it's non-stop. So in my constituency, they know me as the MP who refused to give what? To give money. I said, I'm not going to give you money, but you bring your children for skilling. Surprisingly, we had 1,336 people turn up who wanted to be skilled. And when we started training them, because it was during the lockdown, we had to follow the SOPs. So we train in small groups of 50, 50, 50, until the numbers were increased to 72, and then later 200. And by the time we were done, I remember Christmas, we had some girls coming to tell us that they had already made some money through plating, twist and pencil. You know? And I was excited because for me, I said, at least I have people who I have empowered. And so it showed that,
that's the difference it shows.
The difference. And so I said, okay, what if I tell you the truth? I'm not going to build schools. I'm not going to build bridges. But I am going to advocate for them in parliament. I turned down 3 witch doctors who came to me. They said, we can
We can make you win.
There's one who told me that just agree.
Don't
When
give
you
me
go
anything.
through, give
Yeah.
me 30 million.
Yeah.
That was my power.
Yeah.
No. This one, I don't want to use. So I have all that. Because I was capturing the whole process.
Yes.
And so I said, no, you take your witchcraft. And it reached a point, even my task force told me, guy, you need to give people money. I said, you're either with me or
you're
against
not.
me.
Yes.
And so, and for me, I chose not to beef.
Yeah.
They told me, no, you have to beef with some of these other guys.
So that
I told them, look here, I didn't bring these guys to the race.
Yeah.
And I told them that I'm not standing against anyone. I'm standing for the position.
Yes.
Everybody is standing for the position. So me, it's about the position, not the people who are standing with me.
Okay. Pastor, how many votes did you get?
There were, I
You
think,
know Rwamiti, our friend. He
Yeah,
got
the 100.
hashtag 149.
yeah.
Yes.
I need to check my DRF forms.
Yeah.
But at the last I checked, I think there were 9,000. I think I need to.
Wow,
I
9,000.
need to go and cross-check.
That's
very
a
well.
lot. If you're beyond
Because
constituency has a lot of people, maybe or something. Because 9,000 is a lot of votes.
Our constituency has 90,000.
Oh.
That's like 10%.
Yes, but so
Anyway,
so now
Hey.
the leader had how many votes?
you know what? I didn't pay attention to
the other guys,
detail.
yeah.
Because I had my goals.
Oh,
I wanted
okay.
to see
If you could.
if what is it?
Yeah.
And I'm really writing a book about it because it's called How to Win or Lose an Election in Uganda.
Yeah.
And so through this experience, it helped people to know
Yeah.
what worked,
Yeah.
what successfully failed,
Yeah.
and it's up to you to choose the path you want to take. And I had to, when the election ended,
Yeah.
we were 9 people, but I was the only one who went back to radio to thank for those who voted and didn't vote for me and said, let's work together.
The other guys from the one
Yes.
who won and the other
I
guys
tell you
who-
what, because I did it in the evening. In the morning, I had people coming at home telling me, why did we vote for you? I was like, now
Imagine
I'll
that.
check.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
it was, it's really interesting. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Whether I'll do it again or not,
It's a
well,
question to be answered another day. But
Yes,
I would
your
want
guess
you
is
to
as
go
good as
back
mine.
because now they know you. It's soccer, they know that Toja Bawa, Toja Batenea, which is very important
Yes,
also.
yes.
But I would really like you to go back and you win this
and I
time.
tell you, they're lovable people. They're very
Yeah.
loving. But
Yeah.
the power of money,
Yeah.
I have a whole chapter about that.
Wow.
And it's very interesting
Yeah.
that a person will even tell you that I wanted to vote for you,
Yeah.
but you were not giving money.
Yeah.
So I at least for me it was a win-win.
Yeah, I want to ask, if you wake up today, or if you woke up and you are the president of the country, say Uganda.
Yes.
Yes. What's that pointer line like? Like, what would you want to do? Say 1 or 2 things that you would want to put in place.
I think for me it all goes back to structures.
Yeah.
We need structures in every sector of this country for us to breathe very well. In terms of not only just the ministries, right from the LC1 level, because it starts from down.
Yeah.
You know, we need to change the structures, and then also again, to find a way of empowering the locals, the people down there, because at the end of the day, we feed from them.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's true.
all the businessmen around here, all the goods that we sell, 90% come from the rural area. So
Yeah.
once we empower them, we skill them, we create opportunities for the everyday person, you know, and then also not to strangle them with taxes and things like that, and also to enlighten them, you know. For me, I would start from the bottom, because then it would also set the right precedence for the people. And then also, I would also create commissions which work. You know, you're going to have commissions of inquiry, but sometimes you need the commission of inquiry to inquire what the commission of the inquiry did.
Yes.
And then you have to inquire what happened to this one that we said.
Yes.
So we need to create systems that are legit, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
You don't want to use the word corruption, but
Yeah.
I know that's it. All right,
Yes.
now, Pablo, we're running out of time.
Yes.
But on a lighter note,
Yes.
I would want to know, like, when we talk about entertainment, especially comedy, there are people that make you laugh. I would want at least like 5 people that sometimes when you're seated at home, you're like, Kandabono. Yeah.
Uganda or internationally?
Let's start with Uganda.
The last time an artist made a list
Yeah.
of their favorite, it almost took them to hell.
Bebe
So
Cool
I don't want to be led into that temptation.
Yeah.
But for me,
Yeah.
the beauty about comedy, unlike music,
Yes.
every comedian has something different
Yeah,
about
from the
them.
other, yes, yeah.
They are different. For example, just in stand-up comedy alone,
Yeah.
we have duos, we
Yes.
have people who mimic, we
Yes.
have guys like Conan who speak to themselves. I don't know what to call even that comedy.
Yeah.
So my sons love comedy to bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have all our comedians on the radar. Yeah,
How many kids do you have now?
I have 2 Pablets.
Oh,
Yes.
they are called Pablets.
Yeah, the young ones of Pablo.
Yeah.
And so for me, every time there's a comedian that shows up, let it be local, let
Yeah.
it be in town. When I talk about home-baked comedy, those who use the local language,
Yeah.
I pick interest in them because there's always something different about them.
Yes.
And I always pay more attention to the Ugandan comedy.
Yeah.
The international comedy, I can talk about them because they won't do anything to me.
Yeah.
Guys like Steve Harvey.
Yes.
I like Steve Harvey, but the person who introduced me to loving comedy was Bill Cosby.
Okay.
When he used to do Kids Say the Dandiest Things.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I used to enjoy the stories
Yeah.
and I just love looking at different forms of comedy.
Yeah.
Not to be specific, but there are a number of them. The likes of Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
I used to like Stewart, David Letterman.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw you attended one of, was it the Letterman or the Noah show?
The
The
Noah
shooting,
show, yeah, the daily show, yeah.
I was privileged to attend the Letterman show in New York, so it gave me an understanding of appreciate comedy in a different way.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
yes,
No. You're saying finish?
and also made me understand. Where I also read about comedians. I like reading about them.
Yeah.
How did they come to be what they are?
Yes.
Recently, I was watching Kevin Hart, his biography. There's a whole season on Netflix about him.
Yeah.
And you see these guys. They came from grass
Yeah.
to grace,
Yeah.
and they have also died in quotes on stage.
Yeah.
And so it shows me that I think all the comedians in Uganda need to buy shades because the future is bright. There are more opportunities.
That would actually bring me to the
Yes.
next question, or almost the last. Where do you see us in the next, say, 5 years? Where do you see the comedy industry?
Well, that's a very good question. I think with the changes, the world has flipped
Yes.
due to the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
And it has affected the trajectory of comedy. I see less theatrical performances,
Okay.
less gathering comedy.
Yes.
I see more of online
Oh, yeah.
comedy.
Oh, yeah.
I see different forms of comedy coming up. You see,
Yeah.
like how we have fictional movies.
Yes.
I see us taking that line.
Yeah.
I see Uganda comedians also embracing things like puppetry comedy.
Yes.
That's where I see this comedy going, and I see it more of intellectual.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once it goes online, then people want to think along.
Yes.
But that's not to negate the fact that we shall also have our just for laughs comedy.
Yeah.
I see more comedians, specifically writers.
Yeah.
I see comedians entering the space of having writers. That's where I see us going.
Yeah.
Because we might not have opportunities to.
At the moment, but that's what
it's
the
going to be
biggest
very
comedians
fast.
do,
Everything
yeah.
is going to be very fast.
Yeah.
And comedians won't experience death like we did. It will be there, but it won't be a cancer. When you die in front of people,
Yeah.
it's different than dying online. Online, the only way you can know that you've died is when there are few views.
Yes.
Yeah, but that one doesn't, hurt you like when your uncle is there, your aunt is there, the world has seen
The
you.
man failed, man.
Yeah, your girlfriend has seen you, your spouse.
I know.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
there are gatherings, occupational hazards. One time, I almost quit comedy.
Hey, what happened?
I went to South Sudan. They invited me to go and perform.
Yeah.
I was excited. I said, let me go to South Sudan. Little did I know that those people had gone to my YouTube channel and had watched everything. I think they even crammed and made notes.
Oh, yeah, you did
So,
that, yeah.
me, I went to South Sudan, and those guys are tall. You look up to everyone,
Yeah.
So as I was there, I wanted to be relevant.
Yes.
I started researching about Rick Machar, Salva Kiir. I started writing about, I got content
Yes.
about South Sudan.
Yes.
Show comes, the guy introduces me, Pablo, I come.
Yeah.
I crack the first joke. They are laughing, but in installments. Hey, hey. I crack another one. Hey, 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 hey. I wonder what is happening here. Yet the jokes were serious because I had pre-tested them among South Sudanese.
Yeah.
I cracked until my time ended.
Yeah.
And I said, thank you so much. That was my time. Two guys jumped and said, no. Pablo, there are some jokes you've left out. There are some jokes. I said, eh? Yeah. Yes, there's a joke about short people. You have left that one. And he went ahead to tell me the joke, the way it is on YouTube. The short people did la, 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 la. Then he said, tell us that one. I said, but you have told us the joke. I thought he was just...
Yes.
And the guy was dark.
Yes.
And when a person is dark and they're angry,
Yeah.
it's like a test for iodine. They start turning blue.
Yeah.
Blue, black.
Yeah.
I said, hey, you tell the la la la.
Yeah.
I was there thinking I was joking. The promoter came and pulled me and said, Pablo, crack the joke. That one is a general. He will shoot you. Allah!
You started.
I cracked the joke the way the guy had said it. I'd never seen a person laugh like that. The man laughed at the joke. The man laughed. Everybody was laughing. He even corrected me, said, Pablo, you've left this one of gravity. Then I said, we are also good at that. Guy laughed. Then after he asked the son, is that the joke you wanted? They said, no, there's the one of NGO. Tell us that one. It became a request hour for the first time in my life. Comedy became a request hour.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, Pablo Yagayo. Man, you start, you never stop. It was nice having you, and it's always a pleasure having you at Comedy Store.
The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you so much. Give him another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Bless you.
Yeah. So that's all we had for you. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. What? What is your favorite joke, by the way, in all the jokes you have ever told? Which one do you feel like this is the one?
Well, there are a number of jokes, I should say. But, like every comedian should have some jokes in your quiver. Which are like arrows.
Yes.
When things fail, you shoot it.
Yeah.
I think it was when I was talking about how I became a comedian. I told people that I knew I would become a comedian the day I was born. Because when I was born, my dad walked into the maternity ward, took a look at the baby, and asked my mom one question, is this a joke? And here I am, a living joke.
That's a good one. Yes. You're a living joke.
Yeah.
Yo, thank you so much, though, Pablo. Honestly, me, I can tell you that you've done everything. I don't think are there some places where you still want to go, though?
Heaven. I really want to go to heaven. That's my next target, you know? Yeah, because everything in this world is vanity.
Yeah.
So I'm now working towards heaven.
Heaven.
Yeah, heaven.
Will you become a comedian in heaven as well?
If there's an option of being a comedian in there, let's laugh in heaven. Heaven is my destination. I'll do anything to go to heaven.
Wow.
Yes.
Pablo, thank you so much for coming.
Yes.